Hey, welcome everyone to a brand new episode of Corner Talk. And I have two of my good friends from St. Louis to join me on this very first live episode of all three of us. And also, we also have a brand new platform, FanFest. And I definitely appreciate them for helping out, having this show kicked off the right way. My name is Musa, for those that don't know me. I St. Louis SC fan, maybe a little too much of a craziness, but I also run a podcast for Mo Football Pod TV. And what we'll do is, Oscar, would you like to maybe give a quick introduction about yourself?
Yeah, I'm Oscar Rojas. Obviously a City fan as well. From Colombia, uh, soccer lover. I breed, sweat, and everything soccer related. So, very glad to be with you guys and creating this new corner talk. So let's go for it.
Charlie?
Yeah, my name is Charlie Billieu. I am born and raised in St. Louis. Born in the North Side, now moved down to U City, going to University City High School right now. I'm a sophomore. Just got my second media credential, season-long media credential for St. Louis City SC. Big relief for that one. We were waiting on that for about a month, so that was amazing. And yeah, I mean, I've been getting into soccer the past 2 years. Has been amazing. The experience I've had talking to players and coaches and being around the atmosphere has been absolutely all-encompassing and extremely beneficial for my career and the future that I want to live, in sports journalism.
Awesome. So I got mine too. So today was a great day. And that will also help us now bring a lot more exclusivity to this show because
Got
we
some
will have access
insider
to it.
stuff now.
Yes. Awesome. So it looks like two
I'll,
of
I'll
us will
bring
have
I'll
the
bring the I'll bring the fun part of it. Like I'm gonna be the fan, crazy fan, and you guys are gonna be
Yeah.
the more techniques and the more statistic stuff and the very discreet stuff from the club. And while we're like, I'm gonna be
Yeah, get the North Side
that.
craziness. I feel it. I understand it.
No, but I
up.
mean, and one thing that I didn't mention, like I'm also work as an agent on the side, so like I always look for talent and something that I love to do too. So
Yes, and I think the fun thing that kind of brings us, the three of us here. So you did mention stats, but we'll say that Charlie is the stat guy. He's the one that will bringing all the good information. And if you've ever watched any of this live stream of the presser after game, he's the one that every coach is waiting to hear the stats from. Hartworth was always expecting him to bring the good stats. So he's the stat guy that will have his special segment also, stats of the day. Well, we'll just let him run crazy with those numbers. And for myself, it will just be, the passion, but also bring, a little bit of the media and the fan experience. And from those people that know Oscar, also maybe he will also bring a little bit of his hot topic because I'm
yeah, a little
sure
bit.
a little bit. He's very kind, but it's just a little bit.
Right, I'm a very calm person. You never see me screaming in the stadium, so
No, but we saw the tweet, so we just have to imagine, the tone of those tweets.
yeah.
Excellent. So yes, so and the second part here. So what we'll probably go ahead and start here is this weekend, one of our biggest supporter group in St. Louis, STL Santos, kind of released their new jersey, which Oscar is wearing, and he's also part of the board, and he's one of the capos. So could you tell us a little bit more about the what just happened with the board members and the release of the new jersey and scarf?
Yeah, so yesterday we had our assembly or general assembly that we are going to hold every year as we have board members for our supporter group, and we have a total right now of 9 members that they are in the board. So there was 3 of them stepping out of the board as they concluded their period of being elected, and we got a new three. We had an election. We had four candidates, so it was a very nice environment. Everybody was obviously wanting everybody to be part of it, but we had three positions available, so we got three in. And the fourth person, obviously, we always appreciate that they wanted to be part of it, and we don't discourage them to keep helping in any if they like. You don't have to have a title to help in a group. We welcome everybody, and we want the help because it just takes a lot of work. So that was basically what it was in order there, and then when we definitely released our new jersey and a new scarf. So we have the new jersey right here. It has a little. I'll show you on the back. Has a little bit. I'm not
Nice.
gonna do a full prop, but um, it's a very nice, very, very comfy shirt. Everybody was very excited about it. There's a nice video online, if people want to go find it. The promotion of the jersey and the scarf. We do not have it in our hands yet, but it looks amazing as well. So
Yes.
we were very excited about this. So I think today we were having really good comments as a STL Santos of the style of the jersey, and everybody was kind of like digging with it. So we're excited. I think it's gonna be a big hit the entire year, and hopefully we'll see a lot of them out in the stands and in Fiesta football and all the march and all that stuff.
Yes, and also don't make sure if you pre-order now, I believe if you buy the jersey, it's pretty much $60. So the scarf is pretty much technically free if you order it
Correct.
now. So don't lose that
Yes.
chance to get the
I
combo.
I believe that goes until the end of this week, if I'm not wrong.
Oh,
It's only 1 week pre-order
yes,
Gotta go
with
get it.
the bundle.
yes.
So if
So
you
you
want
heard it
it and you
from
want the
us, right?
scarf, let's get it. Yep.
Yeah, I feel you.
Excellent, excellent. Yes, and we definitely wanted to promote STL Santos because they're one of the big ones with Florida Noise and St. Louligans. So we always have to make sure we show them their appreciations because they do a lot of the work behind closed door. That we only get to enjoy the nice tifo at the end.
Right. Yeah. Yeah.
Excellent.
I mean, all the supporter groups. There's 7 supporter groups that they all work
Yes.
really hard, and they put the party out there in the stadium. So yeah, definitely good for everybody.
Excellent. So yeah, so let's jump into I think what everybody wants to hear us from is St. Louis City SC. So they've just completed two of their, we'll say, two preseason game in Florida, and they're preparing for their the Coachella invitation. So Charlie, would you like to go a little bit above those two pre-games and any stats that you have for us?
Yeah, I mean, you lost the first one versus the New England Revolution, and you win the second one, both by 1 goal. I think, again, if you're a fan kind of watching these and you see some of these players maybe struggle or they're not playing a full 90, it's normal. All right, just a disclaimer, preseason, this stuff's going to happen. There's going to be jitters. There's going to be times where you're making mistakes. We saw in the New England Revolution game, Roman Berkey played a horrible ball in, and Marcel Hartzell was for some reason in the 18-yard box playing a ball that should be like a center back's ball. There's a mistake there, ball gets away, and they score. This stuff's going to happen. You'd rather have it happen now than have it happen, in the season. I think if you can get rid of these jitters now, that's the best case scenario. You're seeing a lot of these young guys get time. You're seeing a lot of these young guys. We actually just had a young guy go into the, I think, U17 national team. I forget his name. I apologize, but do you have it?
Of course,
we'll
the moment you ask.
No, of course. We'll get it in a second. But I mean, we have all these, there. For sure. We have these young guys coming up, and you have almost this pool of talent that you're just picking from day in and day out. If you're, Olaf Melberg here, that you're mixing and matching. Because the first game you had a whole new 11 in the second half, and you had something similar happen in the second game. You're seeing these guys get play time when they might not. You got guys like Jake Gerwood-Reich here. You might not see a ton during the regular season, getting meaningful minutes to prove that he should be a guy that City SC should lean on. You have guys like Josh Yarrow also getting that kind of time where, they're on the fence if he'll be a consistent starter. With the crowded backfield that we have with all these quality players like, Kyle Hebert and Jake Nerwinski. You have these guys at center back that are pretty solid that you saw last season take a lot of minutes. It's really interesting to see these young guys fill in these spots and see, because they have nothing to lose here. They're just trying to prove their worth and say, here's why I should be, in the bigs. It's almost like a spring training for baseball. We're seeing these young guys, try to prove themselves.
Yeah, and the nice thing is that we know that Olaf does also is known to help youth players move up the ranks. So it was almost like perfect situation where St. Louis does have a lot of youth players that I think our academies, at least every time you hear a youth national team call-ups, there's at least one St. Louis player there.
Yeah.
So that certainly shows the progression. And that's Lorenzo Cornelius. And I believe he almost went to St. Dominic also. So it's one of those high school powerhouse in St. Louis. So I'm definitely impressed on every time we hear call-ups and that there's at least one kid from St. Louis SC, and then it's impressive.
Yeah, it definitely is. I mean, a little bit on that topic, like we know Aaron, the little kid that now just signed for Bayer Leverkusen. So it's just as impressive. Like he's 16-year-old that it came from our academy, and now he's in Bayer Leverkusen. I don't know what's gonna be the deal over there. He's gonna be still an academy player, or he's gonna be on a D2 type affiliation, or he's just gonna go straight to the main squad and try to get a position there. But at least that's a huge jump. Is a type of jump like Pulisic did.
Yes.
Just this type of players that they're just young and they just go early to Europe and they stay there. So that's amazing.
Yeah, and that was impressive, especially that I think last year he did not play because he was injured. And I do know that it's most likely will be the academy cycle. And fortunately, it's not like in MLS where if you play in academy or you play for City 2, you have to kind of have a permanent contract. In Europe, it's like if you're in the academy, if you do well, you might find yourself in the first team and then come back in circle. So it certainly put an eyes in St. Louis that says, on a weekly or monthly basis, you have a young player coming up the ranks. So what do you guys think about on the St. Louis side, the Miggy Perez and Caden Glover? How do you guys feel about these guys having an opportunity this year to prove themselves?
I think it's good if they manage it well. I think last year was managed poorly. It was definitely sending the kids to save our chaos. So it was not the ideal situation for a young player to go and throw in the fire and try to put it out. So this year, I hope they manage it better. I think there's a lot of talent there, but it doesn't need to be burned. It needs to be slowly introduced into those minutes in environments when they're positive for the team and for the players, and not in the negative ways where we were playing games where we never had the ball and you put Clover or you put McSorley, they never touched the ball. So that's just very frustrating for a young kid to get in that situation and having only 15 minutes and then you never see it again. And you're just like, oh, I waste my chance, And it wasn't that. It was not on your hands. It was just the team that it was not set up for that. The game was not appropriate for that situation. But yeah, I mean, talent there is Joyner, Clover, McSorley.
Oh,
Yep. I think we may have lost him, but definitely I think
year, and
we're playing peekaboo. But I would definitely say on my part, I think while Oscar comes back, I think probably for me that ceiling, Micah Joyner might be the one that I'll probably look up a little bit more to see how they bring him in the first team. Because I think he looks like his progression almost in the CD2, he was almost like, a little bit above the pedigree of what he needed to be, but still not yet in the city frame from last year. But just watching those preseason and how he has that swag. That's 110% sure. He has no fear, because I think I saw it last season when he kind of had a little chippy with, I think it was in LA or others. I was like, you cannot teach a 16-year-old to be a little chippy to a grown 28-year-old man.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So that was quite impressive. So that pretty much encompassed those two preseason games that we had.
If I could add something on real quick.
Yes.
I mean, you talked about the young guys. One guy I've been looking at real hard. I mean, we all know about Makai Joner. We all know, some of us know about a guy, like Pierce on the back line, but a lot of people don't know Brendan McSorley. His birthday was 2 days ago, the 1st. Happy belated birthday to him. But I mean, 10 goals and 26 appearances last year with City 2. I've talked to this kid. This kid's grounded. I talked to this kid in the innards of the stadium of now Energizer Park at that time City Park. And he's such a grounded fellow. You would think that he's been in the league for about 10 years, and he's 23 years old. I think Brendan McSorley has a definite future in the MLS, whether it be with City or if he finds other opportunities, because this front line is so clogged with City SC. You got Simon Betcher, you got guys like Caden Glover, Marcel Hartel, like you said, Makai Joyner, and Shual Klaus, and you have guys like Cedric Toyshirt, Marcel Hartel, Silly Pompeo, who are more attacking midfielders that are guys that are going to score goals on a game-to-game basis. So it's interesting to see what they'll do with Brendan this season. I'm really excited to see how that plays out.
Yeah, I typically don't add kind of Brendan in there, because I think it was just the factor that the position he was playing, and that we had so many that he didn't get as much opportunity for City. I think the way he's playing, I think he was pretty much toasted with Makai when he's playing, we know City most likely is going to score. Yeah. It's just that he was just missing that one small opportunity to showcase his talent. And it shows he's in preseason. Yes, so it looks like the next one that we have is Coachella Valley Invitational. So the first one they will be playing, it's against Real Salt Lake on the 5th, and then Austin FC on the 8th, and on the 12th, NYCFC. Anything you have for us on that?
Yeah, I'm excited. I mean, I'll be able to be more in depth with these games, talking about it the next episode that comes out, because these will be televised. We'll be able to watch these, through, live, and not just watch snippets and have the admin on the running the X page, tell us what's happening in the City game. I think it's really important for us to be able to look, because stats say one thing. I mean, I'm very well versed in numbers like that. They say one thing, but on-field plays another. You see a lot of there's, I think, a new wave of advanced statistics coming along, and you can look at the advanced statistics as much as you want that points this player towards the best direction. They say they're next Cristiano Ronaldo, but on field, if they don't have that heart, that's something you can't measure with statistics. You can't measure drive. You can't measure heart. You can't measure the way this person acts with statistics, which I think is a very important thing, because you can't just look at one side of it. You have to look at the all-encompassing player himself.
Nice. Are we getting on, Charlie? Because it looks like we're rubbing a little bit of that, European and Spanish thing over to instead of watching the stats, more of how a player plays. Oscar, it looks like it's working.
Yeah, I think he's getting contagious in there, in this environment. So, I mean, that's why you always look for fans, and even like when you have a person that is so specialized in statistics, but when a team brings you that passion to you, that's when you get the best of it. Like you get related with the environment, and then you want to do your best, and also you want them to do their best. So I think like that's pretty cool that you get in showing that passion in there as well. Now, for talking for the Coachella games, I think what I looked the most, and we're gonna touch base a little bit on what was the media day and the press conference that this past week. But one thing that it caught my attention, obviously, was that these first two games were just trial. They
Yep.
just trying formations, they were trying players, looking at players that they haven't seen as much, especially for all of. And then now he definitely said, like, yes, definitely, I'm gonna start placing what I'm gonna put on the 22nd. So he's definitely gonna go in on looking what his formation is gonna be, which players are gonna fit the best, and how he can explode the best of our squad. So I'm very excited about looking at this these games that are coming up. So we'll see what we come up with.
Charlie, anything?
He said it all. I cannot say it better myself.
Yeah, and I think probably for the media day and the press, I think that the impression that I got also is that those first two games, especially if you watch who went in and who went out, the second flow of the players, I think he was almost just like go outside, go on the field, and show me how much conditioning you have, because it
Yeah.
was very random of some of the players they were playing out of position. So I think those were just like trying to get a gauge of how much who's ready in quotes, and just to see, I guess, their ways of playing. And it looks like he did mention that probably looking at players that play one or two or three, and then just pick those that specialize in a certain position, and those are probably the ones that we expect to be starters as much. But it looks like his mind was not set on who's going to play where just yet. So I think it's for all the players to, show what they got. They got a new coach. It's press reset for everybody, and just show them how determined you are to make it.
Yes. I mean, if anybody did preseason ever, like you have preseason where you have to get your 120% on the physical side of it, and then after that, you gotta show your coach, especially if he's a new coach, that you have the skill with the heavy legs, and that's one of the toughest things to do. Like, and that's what they were saying so many times. Like they were heavy leg, heavy leg, because it's that like you load so many of those charges when you're preparing the fitness, all the aerobic part of out of the soccer, and then going and playing a game. After
Yeah.
all the running, it's very heavy. So um, it is something that will be interesting. That now the loads are lower, and see what they're
Yeah,
gonna do.
for
Yeah,
sure.
it'll be interesting. I think Matt Baker did bring up sort of the question on, like, the difference of the workouts, and so it looks like he may bring a little bit more of the European, maybe with less weightlifting on that part. So
We'll
yeah,
see, man. I mean, I don't think Shaw Klaus stays it. You see the way he bodied that Sporting Kansas City player last year.
yeah,
Pushed him to the
yeah,
side.
that
But
one's still running.
you're funny you're saying that because he in the media. I just watched an interview from I think it was Matt Baker with
Yes.
Flyover Foodie that
Yeah,
um he asked Klaus, and Klaus was like, it's different. Like we were having too much weightlifting last year. We were going heavy on games and things like that, and it are those things like when you're in season and when you have your coach there, you're never gonna speak about it. But now it's a new environment, new coach, new reset. Now he's like, "Oh yeah, we were not supposed to be doing that. I felt like we were doing too much."
that's
So
fair.
it was kind of
You
like
see,
curious to see it. And it's like you're doing too much. And especially with the MLS season is so long,
It's painful.
so you have to manage those charges better. I think like
yeah,
that's one of my biggest issues. I told a lot of my friends that last year our fitness trainers, fitness coaches, they were doing something wrong because we were having too many muscle injuries. It was not
yeah.
just the bad injuries, the bad broken ankle or a ligament or something, but we were doing something wrong when they were creating those muscle injuries, and especially on practices.
Yeah,
Getting
I
those
mean,
knocks on practices, getting those things, and it's like, why?
yeah. I mean, Joachim Nielsen missed an incredible amount of time with a hamstring injury, right? And he was a centerpiece of your right side of your defense. And that blow really kind of put everything into mayhem. With you have to bring up guys having to get summer transfers that were maybe not the best fit for St. Louis in that defensive front. But as you talked about, it's definitely important to look at the way that this team will play mid-season form. Once the summer months comes around and they starts getting warmer consistently, how these guys perform. If they can go a full 90 34 times, that's extremely impressive. If they can go a full 90 maybe 28 times, that's amazing too. But we're looking at a difference between muscle gain and cardio is a very, very different regiment, and I guarantee you they're eating different than they did before, because when you're going for cardio, you eat a little bit less protein than you're eating when you're going for muscle gain. So I'm excited to see what they do with that for sure.
Yeah, and I'm also a little interested because on the Matt Baker interview too, when Klaus mentioned that he went back to some of his old coaches and see what he was doing then and what he's doing now, and it looks like he may have mentioned like mental things that he had to figure out outside of football. So I'm wondering if his performance and injuries, how injuries can get in your head so quickly. And I'm wondering if that's what may have hindered a little bit of last season. And just hearing how he was speaking and, how he, back to bases, that definitely shows me a little excitement to know that if Klaus is like in a good state of mind, we know that there will be defenders in MLS that are like, oh snap, he's doing better.
Yeah, if he's in the right mentality and he's hungry, then I think people are gonna be in trouble. The thing is, like, he seemed like he had a little lack of something last season. It was either like was not hungry, was not caring about it, or just like he was in his head so frustrated with every single touch that he did that didn't help him in the long run.
Yeah.
So it's
It
exciting
looks
about
like
him. It's exciting about the connection with Betcher.
yes.
If they played together, because they have been like brothers up and down St. Louis, up and down. He was saying like we go eat together and we do this, and so let's translate that to the field, and they just one feed the other and just score, score, score.
Yeah, I was wondering when I saw Besher was at the Ambush game last game. And I believe some of his family probably a Harrisburg from fans because they were all wearing them. So, the moment I saw him, I started looking around. I was like, is Klaus gonna be here too?
Where's Klaus at?
Yeah, I
Yeah.
was like, you're missing
because we see
your other
them.
half.
We've seen
I
them
believe
at
he
Blues
was there.
games. That's crazy. We've
Yeah.
seen them at Blues games.
I was
What?
told that Klaus was there too.
Oh, so
That's crazy.
that means he went somewhere else then, because I think when I was filming, I saw that a lot of his family members from Betcher was in that one section. So he was. I'm sure he was probably somewhere where no one knows because he's a tall guy. I mean, you cannot miss him.
Yeah. So a friend of mine that is part of the supporters group sent us a picture, and he was sitting there. So
Okay.
I definitely was like, oh yeah, he's there. So
Wow. All right. So where Betcher is, Klaus is not far away.
Yeah.
All right.
yes,
I
yeah,
talked about earlier something stats can't measure. Chemistry is one of those things. We've seen them take some crazy side quests recently. They've been going to Blues games. They saw a groundhog somewhere. I'm not sure where they saw that thing. I don't know if that was Missouri or some kind of other planet. I don't know. But they've been attached at the hip all off season. I'm really excited to see how that plays out. If we're going like a 4-4-2 and they are on the top as those 10 and 11 guys. If we can see them really produce at the rate that they did towards the end of last season, I would say around the 27th game mark. I'm really excited to see what they can do there.
Awesome. So yes, if you have best friends on your team, it certainly goes a long way. So any of your, even though it does not really matter, um, what is your prediction? How do you guys feel about these three games? We know Salt Lake have lost players. We know that Austin FC have added quite a few players, and NYCFC, I believe, just one of their kind of thing defender went to New York, Manchester City. So it looks like their transition has not much chance. So it went from Real Salt Lake, their best striker is gone. Austin added the new striker who's maybe people are asking to go on loan back to Europe.
Really?
And one that's, I guess, NYCFC is still a question mark. So how do you guys feel about these two games, particularly for the Coachella Valley invitation?
Give me a 3-game sweep. Give me a 3-game sweep. We're winning all of them. Hear me out here. The things that I've seen from this team in the last game especially, Olaf said he's throwing things at the wall and seeing what's going to stick. And I saw some things stick in that last game. The metrics that we saw from that back line were great. The metrics that we saw from the midfielders and the attacking front were amazing. The in-depth stats point towards that being something you can repeat. And if they can repeat that kind of play where you have solid defense and good enough offense, because all you have to do, if you get a clean sheet, you just have to score one. You don't need to score 5. You don't need to score 4, just one of them. And if you can do that, if you can have a sound defensive front, which I did see them do, those first 2 games, they only give up 1 goal. And I think with, Real Salt Lake's striker, Chucho Arango being gone, I don't think they'll have the same offensive production there. Austin FC, I still don't think that they've had enough time to kind of sit with these players and build enough connection to be able to consistently produce, 3, 4, or 5 goals a game. And then with, New York, I think it's still a question mark, like you said. But if they can get rolling those first 2 games, I don't see New York stopping them.
Nice. Oscar?
That's a great take. And I would not go for the 3 sweep, just because it's still preseason. And I know they're not going to go all 3 games with all what they got. In preseason also plays the mentality of, I don't want to get hurt.
Yep.
And I'm going to go in a challenge. I'm not going to go something that is going to ruin my entire season when I'm just working so hard for it. So I would probably do it at 1-1-1.
Oh, Oscar is
I don't know which one will win. I don't know which one will win, which will lose, and what we tie. But I think there's gonna be one game that is gonna be okay. We're gonna give everything. We're gonna see what we can connect, we can do together, how we can demolish a team.
Mhm.
The other ones are gonna play more on the safe side, looking on maybe like set pieces, just perfecting movements, things like that, but without exposing themselves as much, and also not giving everything away for the other coaches. You know what you got. So that's why I say like one game is probably be a lose game, just because they just want to test other people too. Like it's just not it's not the end of the world if you lose a preseason game. So you can just watch and see, and if you made mistakes, how you correct them. So I think that's a good thing
We
to
have
think about it.
Oscar as a conservative on those. All right.
Rare. That's a rare
that's the
take from
first thing.
Oscar. That is something. Pigs have flown, folks. Pigs have flown.
So that's the preseason Oscar, it sounds like.
Oh, yes.
Yeah.
No, I
Okay.
don't. I tell you, I don't expect much on preseason. I want them
Sure.
to get fit, they get connected. Like that's what you look into players. And then once it becomes a home opener, now give everything, and you will see that I'll give you everything in the bleachers as well. So, um, yes, right now it's just they need to stay healthy. That's my main thing. I play soccer and I play deep preseasons, and my worst nightmare was getting hurt on preseason.
Of course.
Yeah. Well, our team did look like a ER room last year. So I
Yeah.
totally
Yeah.
totally agree with you on that
Yeah,
one.
I get you there.
So yeah, so it looks like so that pretty much covers it for CitySC. And the other part is just that we will be able to watch all 3 preseason game. To I believe, if I remember correctly, will be to Matrix Midwest,
Yep.
Yes.
which is
Mo, what's your
great.
take though? You didn't tell us your take.
Yeah. What are they doing in the 3
Wow.
games?
But I'm thinking it's probably going to be 2 wins and 1 loss. I'm I I'm still thinking maybe the Austin FC, who they've just brought in at this moment, the Vasquez and all that, they have the firepower on it. So I'm wondering if that's the one where they might test a little bit more of our defense to see how, since we don't know who are supposed to be our starter in defense, but that's still in the air on how conditioning and how healthy everybody is.
Mhm.
And you also saw Lutz when I forget who asked him during the pressers, like, that we have a lot of center back and defenders. But then one of the things he brought up is that, do you remember last year? And we were trying to be on the safe side and make sure that we are covered in those positions. So I think for me, that's just that one that still linger on how much firepower the other teams have and how ready our defense is, because you saw MLS. Those teams are spending big money
Yeah.
on big forwards. So if City can have that defense kind of line up and know our starters and stay healthy, that will be our biggest challenge, because we know we can score goals. That won't be a problem. So,
Well, let's hope.
hey, it,
I mean, we
the
went
stats
last
showing
year.
us
Yeah, I
the
mean, we
second
went
half of
last
the
year
season.
with a big draw
Yeah,
of goals. But
yeah,
yeah, second half, and especially with Cello and Preacher,
okay.
definitely that was bringing goals left and right. So, and let's first goal of this season or this year was Torture again. So I think he wants to pick up where he left off.
We'll see.
Yes. So yeah. So jumping into the stats of the day. So that is all Charlie.
Let's do
Oscar and I will just sit and listen.
it.
So
All
Oscar,
right.
Can I get my
Charlie?
notebook, see if I can learn a little bit?
So, folks listening at home, if there's one player to look out for on this Man City squad, the statistics point for me for the defensive midfielder himself, Chris Durkin, to have a breakout season and to play consistent, amazing soccer or football, whatever you like to call it. Some of the stats I have today, the amazing things that he's done on the defensive side. He has an amazing, we see him kind of, sometimes we see the idea of him being very aggressive. But his plus minus on fouls is 20. So he's taken in 20 more fouls than he's committed, which is great discipline, improving from last year where he had a plus minus under 20. He ate up more than 2,000 minutes on the pitch last season, 2,263 to be exact. I mean, that is a guy you can trust on to go 90 or go 85 if you need him to. All right. His tackles won percentage. He's winning tackles 64% of the time. It's better than a coin flip for Chris Durkin to go out there and take the ball from somebody if they're coming into our zone. Aerial duels are even better. All right. The aerial duels that he has is 66%. So when he's going up for a ball, chances are he's coming down with possession too. All right. He's rarely dribbled past. He's dribbled past less than one time a game. His possession one of the final third happens at least one time a game here. He has over 5 recoveries per game, only 2 fouls committed per game. He had 10 yellow cards, no red cards, which we see. That's good. That's good discipline there. And the best game of the season he played was at defensive center back when he had a 7.59 rating on WhoScored.com, who is a very, very well, when he never had a rating over 6.5 in the midfield. We're seeing he had 1 goal last season. We saw the amazing goal. It was in the candidacy for goal of the year. And it was an absolute banger, top corner, as we say, top corner talk here, the name of the podcast. But I mean, the ability of Chris Durkin to go out there and produce at a high level defensively is almost certain for me. The only thing I see wrong with his game is his passing. Okay, it is 76% passing accuracy, which was the worst on the team last year, and a long ball accuracy of under 50%, which is 41. If he can fix some of these things up, which I think a lot of these come with a different regime and a different game plan, you're going less, big passes from your own third into the final third, and you're going more controlled possessions and more short passes rather than long, risky passes. I think you're going to see Chris Durkin shine. Okay, I'm saying right now, I think Chris Durkin will be one of the most constant midfielders for City SC, and I think he should be. If he's not, I think he should be. Chris Durkin is going to be the most defensively sound midfielder you're going to have all season. Tomas Ostrak's up there. But, I mean, if you're looking for a defensive midfielder, especially because you're looking at offensive midfielders, you got Celia Pompeu, you got Cedric Teuscher, Marcel Hartel, Edward Leuven. And, I mean, you have all these attacking midfielders, but when you look at defensive midfielders, you have Wallum, and then Durkin. That's kind of it, because everyone else is listed as defense. If they're more of a defensive midfielder, if they play that. But if you're looking at on paper, Chris Durkin should have an amazing season this year, depending if he stays healthy, depending on outside factors, because, these people are still human. Things happen. We saw, the thing that took Edward Leuven out last year was the tragic news of his wife developing a very serious type of brain cancer that she had surgery on. I mean, that's something that's bigger than soccer. That's bigger than the game itself. I think sometimes we forget that these are people too. And if we're looking at if everything goes right here with Chris Durkin, I think he'll have an amazing season. He'll be an integral part of if City SC will have an amazing season, have a good season, or have a bad season like we saw last year. That's my take for today.
Yeah, and I think for that part, it's just maybe stop trying to do too much in offense. If you just stay back and let Cedi in,
he's talked about it last year before the summer transfer window. We were averaging less than 2 goals a game, and you're seeing a lack of production. You had a losing streak in June, and you're seeing what can I do? Because I talked to him after a game when Hack was the interim after they fired the old head coach. Yeah, after they fired Carnell. Carnell. We're seeing. I talked to him, and he said, sometimes you have that feeling of I want to go do what I can for the team, and when you have the lack of scoring, that's what they're going to do. They're going to cheat up, and then you're going to have guys get past the midfielders and have runs along the wings and towards the corners and get solid crosses into the box, right? But if you have good offensive production, which I think this team will. I mean, Celia Pompeu fitting into this offensive front that was already amazing once the summer transfers came in. Will be, I think, even better offensive production than last year. I think Chris Durkin will have no need and almost feel no want or no pull to kind of go upfield because he won't need to.
Excellent. Oscar, anything you'd like to add?
I mean, there's one of the things that you're mentioning there that statistics don't tell you is you're saying very bad passing percentage, very bad long passing percentage. And what you're saying is completely right because he was trying too much. He was forced to try too much. He was forced to be the one, create options, create passing, moving, run into the box. And those, for a 6th player, it's difficult sometimes when you're pushed into that area of playing. Well, what you're saying for this year, he has such a big supporting cast in front that they can take the ball and produce that the only job that he has to do this year is recover the ball, short pass, they create.
Yeah.
And start
So his percentage
season.
Yeah, like his percentage of passing is gonna increase immensely if he plays simple. If he's recover, pass, let him play.
Yeah.
Obviously, you want to participate higher. You want to be involved in scoring goals like he likes to do because he's that type of player that he wants to be a box to box player. Here and there's gonna happen, yes, but it's not gonna be as much as he did this past year. So I think his percentage, his numbers on passing is gonna improve a lot. He's not gonna be forced to send long balls to try to create anything. So it's gonna overall, like you said, be a very good year for him.
Yeah. I mean, as much as we talk about, like I said earlier, the stats and the things we see within soccer, I mean, I just hope this season we can have guys consistently, no huge road bumps that are going to impede not only their soccer careers, but their lives severely. I mean, you never want to see something like that happen. What happened to Silly Pompey, or what happened to, Ilona Leuven, Edward Leuven's wife, who I've heard is, doing better now, thankfully. But I mean, you just got to hope that you can have a season where everyone can stay healthy and everyone can stay in a great mindset, because, I mean, people sometimes forget how much of this game is mental. If I would say, yeah, I mean, it's if you're not in a good headspace going into some of these things, if you're in a downward spiral in your life, or your team's in a downward spiral, you're going to feel the need to do too much. And that's what Chris Durkin did last year, because he needed to. I think since we have a more solidified front, towards the end of the season, Durkin did better because he didn't have to go up and make, big opportunities and make big crosses, things that Jay Reed does on the left side. And because we see him up cheating up towards the flag, which I love. I mean, he's great at playmaking on that left side. But, I mean, if we can have him be a stagnant part of that defense, I think it'll be a great progression and a good, solid piece for St. Louis City SC.
Yeah, so as long as we stay a little bit of healthy, the normal injuries, it's good. It's just nothing that goes above 6 months, then we'll be good. Because I think we've had it back to back, right? Klaus was the first year, and then Celio. So, knock on wood or whatever that's wood, that we don't get that crazy, 5-6 months injury.
Yeah.
And then it's not like we only get one player, we get 2 or 3 that they get in that list. Like, I mean, last year was terrific, like, and horrible, let's say it, with Celio, Ostrak, and in some point was Rasmus Ahn was out with a knee injury too. So Nielsen going out in the hamstring, back and forth, super frustrating. So yes, healthy will create a good stability in the team. We have a bigger depth, in my opinion, this year, especially that midfield line. I think there's a lot of manpower there that they can step up and do just right. So, I mean, it looks good. It's exciting, I think.
You think?
For sure.
Yeah. All right. So the next one will be all MLS topic in general. So now we just saw that Columbus lost pretty much control their go-to guy in the last day of the transfers for Europe. And so how do you guys, so I've been quite impressed by this year's MLS transfer season. There are teams that have gone and just, throw checks at players.
Yep.
There's a lot of MLS players that have gone to Europe now, and there's a high demand from Liga MX too to get their players. And so I've been quite impressed on that transfer window. And we know that for City, it was more of, the summer versus the winter for us. So how do you guys feel about, the rest of MLS? We already know how we feel about St. Louis in general.
Yeah, I mean, you've seen some moves inner MLS, like you see, Real Salt Lake star Chucho Arango going to, I believe, San Jose.
Sorry.
He went to San Diego, correct?
So Chucho went to San Jose, which it's a whole nother discussion.
My goodness. But yeah, I mean, you have some like MLS moves. You have like trades and you have loans, within America. But you also have, like you talked about, the Columbus Crew. You got Juan Chucho Hernandez, who's gone to the Spanish La Liga. I mean, you're talking about their best player, going and pursuing endeavors, which is amazing for him, right? Of course, the MLS is not as a prestigious league as the EPL, the English Premier League. It's not as prestigious as the Bundesliga, probably more equivalent to the Bundesligas too, right? I mean, if you're going to look at it in a real sense, you're not going to see guys like Ronaldo, like Neymar, like Messi in their primes come to the MLS and stay here. But when you have those kind of players, it's really nice to have them and to have them here and see them. I mean, it's a treat to have Roman Berkey, as your goalkeeper, day in and day out every Saturday. It's a treat. I think we're very spoiled with Roman. And then we have, I mean, all these players coming from like Latin America, South America, Central America, and then also coming over from like Africa and like the Western and Eastern Europe. I mean, this MLS is honestly just a melting pot of so many different styles of football and soccer that it's so interesting to see it all blend into one. That's why I love the MLS so much.
That's great. I mean, the MLS definitely has been growing in the past 2, 3, 5 years. But I think like this past year has taken off to another level. I mean, we have names that you mentioned, like, well, they're not in the prime anymore, but some of them are coming almost in the prime, maybe like in the
Mhm.
little down the hill, starting going down the hill. But
Yeah.
like we got Fosberg in Red Bull, New York.
He's one.
Yeah.
Like he had at least 5 more years in Europe to play, like in my opinion, and he
Mhm.
decided to come over here. He showed it on the playoffs. He did amazing performance on the playoffs to take that New York run. We got player like Benteke. We got obviously Leo Messi, Suarez, Busquets, Alba in Miami. That and I don't know, I still don't know how that's fair, but that's another conversation. Um, and
Barca.
we add in more talent like Charlotte bringing Saha.
Uh, that one
Uh, oh,
uh, yes.
I'm still processing. I love Saha. I love how he plays, how cheapy and spicy he is.
Yes.
So it's an amazing addition to the MLS. Royce came last year to LA
Who?
Galaxy.
We don't know who that
Who?
is.
Yes,
Who? Yeah.
exactly. We don't want to mention it, but we got to mention him.
Yes.
Um, Ricky Pooch obviously is in there. Um, so yeah, I mean names you can name a lot of people now. So before and part of like what um are we good?
Uh, we can still hear you. Yes.
Yeah, okay. Um Part of like what I used to not watch MLS was because I couldn't recognize any specific player and specific talent. And there was some talent, but it's not like now. Like we do have names, and it's more fun when you recognize a player and you can identify as like, oh well, oh this game is gonna be tough because they do have this guy or this guy. So it's definitely, and it brings more people to the bleachers. That's what you want stands.
Yeah, it's always one of them that I think he still had time. I think it's just with the Galatasaray and the time, I guess, going on loan. So I think it's showing that it's progressing, and it does not hurt that the World Cup 2026 is here. So a lot of these teams want to have those international names so that they can kind of tie the national team to a city.
Mhm.
So that certainly helps. Aren't we hosting like 2 or 3 of the world tournaments in the next
Yeah,
you know
in the next 3 years.
two
Yep.
3 years? So it certainly help the profile of all the players. It just will determine on how well MLS and soccer in general takes that opportunity, because I've told other people is that it's almost like a make it or break it, because you cannot have these 3 tournaments at home and not push the envelope afterward. Um,
Yeah.
Other countries will kill to have that much. So on that part with just the MLS in general, is there anything else that jump into mind for you guys that you like to um, dwell on, or anything other from MLS? The new
I mean,
cash transaction directly between teams.
Yeah.
The team that we do not want to name was able to use
oof.
that 4 million, and I'm still surprised that Chivik was able to move to where Sporting
Yeah.
KC, because now we'll have to
I'm
see him.
very I'm upset about that. I'm very that like City didn't even try. Like we know that some players don't want to come to this market, the Midwest. They don't want to live here. We know it. There's there's the LA market, there's the San Diego market, California, and we have the East Coast market that is more attractive for the players. If that player of that quality is wanting to or willing to be in the Midwest, why do not go for it?
You think maybe it was that 4
Midwest.
million price tag?
It's a lot of money.
Okay,
It's a lot of money for the
and
MLS.
and well, no, but for the MLS not anymore.
Yeah,
We're
no,
seeing
yeah,
transactions
I
of
think he's in
8,
the
9,
bottom.
10, 12.
Yeah,
Yeah, I
because
mean,
we've
you got
So
rid of oh my goodness, I'm blanking.
Polito.
To Columbus Crew. There was a transfer to the Columbus Crew last season. We traded number 25.
AZ.
Yes, Ezekiel
oh,
Jackson.
still
I'm
heard about that
blanking.
one. But yeah.
Ezekiel Jackson. I mean, I think went for 950,000, right? I mean, we're talking he's valued as 4 Ezekiel Jacksons at that point. I mean, I think that's yeah. I mean, that's fair to say that they
I
definitely.
mean, I think he's 10
Yeah,
AZ Jacksons, but
yeah, that's fair. I mean, you
Oh,
have.
yeah,
I mean,
he scored goals.
Jovelich.
He.
Let's be real. Jovelich had an amazing season last year. He put
Oh
LA
yes,
Galaxy to the championship.
Yeah.
So
yes.
if LA Galaxy is getting rid of a player like that and you don't go for it, like what are we doing?
I'm not sure.
Especially
I
when,
mean,
no offense to Klaus, but Klaus didn't score goals last year.
Mhm.
no.
Yeah, and I don't think LA Galaxy had a choice because I think they couldn't afford because I think there's the whole parity in MLS where unfortunately or fortunately depending on who you are and your team, that if your team is too successful, um, then there's some of your top players that will have to go elsewhere. I mean, I think that's how Real Salt Lake had some of their players. Oh, I forgot his name, but it looks like it's that whole parity that kind of
Yeah.
forced the successful team to shed some
Yeah, I mean,
salary.
I think what you're looking at here is saving up to think about maybe signing Gabriel Peck back. I mean, he's valued right now on transfer market at $12 million in December of 2024. I mean, you're going to need to shed some cap to be able to afford a guy like that. I think we lost Mo.
Yeah.
But
Yeah, we might have lost him, but I mean, you're right, but it also, I believe, Jovelich was asking for more money. So obviously, when we wanted an improved contract with improved salary that he deserved, he was looking for DP money, and I don't think they were gonna do it. So I mean, obviously they didn't do it, and they sent him away. But I just think like at least City should have make a bid, even if you're not really attempting to it, just for the sake of your biggest rival is acquiring that type of player.
Yeah, I mean, for sure.
Don't let
I
it
mean,
go that easy.
that's fair. I mean, you gotta put your hat in the ring a little bit. I understand that for sure. I mean, if City fans are looking at the Sporting Kansas City roster and being worried, I would check their pulse. I mean, I'm seeing Eric Tommy, Johnny Russell, the new guy on the block, and then I can't name any other ones. I'll tell you that. I'm well versed in the MLS. I mean, we're looking at a team that didn't make additions that City made in the summer transfer market. We're looking at a team that's basically the same as they were last year with one addition.
Didn't Johnny Russell left?
Oh, he totally did.
I think he left.
I am mistaken in that one.
You got Tommy and you got Saloy. I think that will be the top three with Jovelich now.
You got Malia too, the keeper.
Yeah. So I think I mean obviously it's not a concern. I think like we had a better squad now. I think we had a better squad all 3 years. And we're still not being able to completely dominate them. So
Yeah,
that's kind of
sure.
like where maybe like people will be scared about it because now they have a very good goal scoring forward, better than Pulido, and Pulido scored a goal against us every game he played. So
Mhm.
it's like if this guy's better than Pulido, then there's gonna be some concerns about the fans. It's like, well, now this
Yeah.
guy's gonna be a nightmare for us. But hey, Pulido is good against us, but was not as good with other people. He might happen the
Yeah.
opposite way. Jovelich can be good with other people and not
We'll see.
score a goal against us.
Yeah, I mean, it's peculiar seeing Mo's back. Hey, I mean,
Hey,
it's
can you hear me?
peculiar. We can hear you. It's
Yeah.
peculiar seeing this kind of. I mean, we have Lutz being the aggressive sporting director that he is, going out and getting any player that he even sniffs on the market. I mean, he has so many connections in Europe that I'm not surprised if he would go after, like a curtain with a broom underneath it, calling itself a midfielder. I mean, if we're talking about the way that Lutz is with the veracity that he goes out and gets players, I think there's got to be a reason that he didn't put the hat in the ring, or that maybe he did put the hat in the ring and we just didn't, we just didn't hear as much about it.
Yeah.
Yeah, and we don't really know, I guess, how that happened. If it's LA Galaxy that reach out or whichever way. It was just, I think for me, the only positive things that about that transfer is that it kind of shows that a player of his pedigree and name, because his name was mentioned a lot during the playoff and the final, and then he goes to Sporting KC of all places, and it will be totally different from LA life. His drive is going to be different. He's the it. So I think it's just going to be
I
interesting.
mean, he
on
knows where
how,
he can buy furniture, though.
Oh, for sure. I mean, you know where to take a walk and feel sadness in the Kansas City streets. That's an easy one to do compared to LA. I think you'll see more fountains and more depression. I think that's the two things he'll see the most in Kansas City. Maybe barbecue too, but I mean,
but he will have to actually drive
He
though
would,
to
he,
Missouri,
yeah,
to
he
the
will have to
Missouri
drive
side.
35,
Yeah,
40
he will.
minutes. So
But he will
Yeah.
have to come back to Missouri to enjoy those
Yeah.
things,
Oh,
not
of
where
course.
he's at. So
Oh, of
but he
course.
can get furniture right in 5 minutes.
Oh,
away
of
from
course.
him.
It's next
So
door.
yeah,
That's a
it's
given.
just good. I'm just
Well,
concerned like he will get a good bed in and like a
and then
good couch so he can.
It's important,
know.
man. You got to make sure. I mean, if you sleep wrong, your back could be messed up. You could have a back strain, especially at the ripe old age of 27 that he's at. I mean, I'm just joking. But, I mean, if we're looking at you never know. His neck could be tight. He could have a bad pillow. We'll see what happens. I think we got some insider information here, folks, with some maybe his betting is not up to date. We'll see what happens developing on that one. We'll talk about that one next time. We'll see.
hey, we better send someone from St. Louis to work
gotta
over there
see.
to make
Gotta
sure they get him
Right.
an expired bed.
First class flight, we got to see.
Yes, so I think that will kind of maybe make it a little bit more interesting when he plays against us.
Yeah.
Because now we know that they have, and they lost Johnny too. So I think they kind of, and Polito, so they kind of needed a name, to put a face to the team. So congratulations to them. That's the only time I will say something like that for the rest of the season. But I guess it is what it is for this time.
Right.
All right. So anything else you'd like to cover? I know we kind of skipped over the CD2, but we'll go on the next episode for them. Just I know that hopefully they make another run into the playoffs and maybe find themselves back to a final again.
I'm excited to see the jerseys they release.
Oh, I think everybody's waiting for all the jerseys.
We'll see. Maybe some more hope with City 2.
That's the only one
see.
you need to see.
That's
there
what we're
you
talking
go.
about $30 cheaper than an authentic kit that we'll see from the City shop. Go grab you one.
Yeah.
Hey, you just fill the closet with all of them.
Oh, of course.
I know.
One for each day of the year. 365 of them.
It's hard to be a St. Louis fan. There's too many nice jerseys from all supporter groups, content creators. I mean, It's expensive.
Yeah, there's swag everywhere.
Yes.
Yeah.
Awesome. So yes. So the next topic that we have now, we jump. Now it's back to our Missouri updates. So I guess on my part, I'll probably start with just St. Louis in general. So we do know that now the UPSL and Midwest PLs teams are starting to form and have tryouts. The first one that I saw was yesterday was with 314 Soccer Club. I don't know if you guys watch also this academy, Coach Charles Rankin. He's one of the coach for the academy. And if you don't know him, you might want to check him out because he also played for Seattle Sounders professional. So he has an extended list of accolades.
Right.
So we have players, but we also have coaches that have seen the game and played the game. And he's also will be coaching that 314 Soccer Club, ran a tryout. So I don't know if you saw any of my tweets. Very impressed on the type of players that we have in St. Louis, not only in the professional ranks or the academy ranks, but also soccer, high school, college, and this summer pro. So St. Louis is definitely a soccer hub, but also Missouri is one. So just wanted to kind of bring this up to this show as well to kind of show love that when St. Louisan says that they are capital of soccer and they carry a pride when it comes to soccer, they're not just talking St. Louis City SC or St. Louis FC or the known St. Louis colleges.
I mean,
top to bottom.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, you're the expert in the ambush. The ambush looking to expand the USL2, going outdoors. I mean, that's a huge investment in the future of St. Louis soccer. We see the Open Cup coming back this year for St. Louis City SC to play in, which is very well accepted within supporter groups. I'm sure you know that, Oscar, that the League's Cup wasn't the most loved thing last year. But I mean, I'm excited to see the local scene kind of expand to a point where we see people thinking, growing up in St. Louis, because I guarantee you there's kids thinking right now, I want to grow up and I want to score a goal to win the English Premier League. I think there's going to be some kids in the future growing up and say, I want to score a goal in the MLS Cup final or in the USL final to win it. And I want to hoist that trophy for St. Louis. I think that kind of pride is coming through a little bit more with this next generation of kids that are growing up with the amount of soccer that we've inhibited in the last couple of years.
Oh, yes, there's plenty. All right. So that's pretty much my part of the St. Louis. So for the Ambush FC, I'm also working, the ins and outs. So we see if we can get an exclusive of, the mind of those that are putting it together for the Ambush FC. And also we want to also say congratulations to the Ambush that also won 12-7 versus Harrisburg Heat. So now they're actually on a 2 games winning streak. So that's always good to see them kind of turning around. So it was quite fun. And you saw it was Betcher, and it looks like Klaus was there. And we also had the Perez family, because we had Louis Perez that plays for the Ambush. That was his first team play. And he actually scored and had an assist. And the entire family was there, including Miggy. So it looks like that was a family affair where it was a family night. St. Louis won.
You know that that Perez, he's a former Missouri Baptist University player.
And the leading scorer, too.
And this guy is a former Missouri Baptist.
Yes.
I didn't make it that far, but we share that in common.
Yeah, but look where you are now. So I think that's kind of shows, and I think that's for this show. We want to make sure that we show love to also St. Louis as just a soccer hub as it is. So hopefully we'll be able to bring a little bit more information on, just soccer in general in St. Louis.
Yeah, I mean, if you look at the Ambush right now, sitting 8th in the standings, 13 games played, 4 wins, 9 losses, no overtimes with 11 points so far. They got to turn it up a little bit. We'll see what happens in the future. The next game's on Saturday. We'll see what happens then, February the 8th. I'm excited to tune in and watch that one. I mean, the Ambush have been a team to watch recently. I've been enjoying. I'm honestly, truth be told, first Ambush game I watched was last month. I know, but I'm getting into it. There's only one way to start, right?
Yes.
As much as I'm getting into the USL, as much as I'm getting into USL2, as much as I'm getting into leagues overseas, as the Spanish La Liga, we're looking at Bundesliga, Bundesliga 2, EPL more. I mean, I'm trying to broaden my reach, and one of the things I started with is the Ambush, and it's just, honestly, it gives me a little bit of nostalgia because I remember playing indoor soccer, and I'll tell you this: there was this one kid. He was not 9 years old. That kid was not 9, and he was shooting bullets. And I'm telling you, that gave me flashbacks, and I was like, I can't do this. I'm gonna just sit on my computer and tweet about it the whole time. That's what I'm gonna do. I am not able to run that fast or kick that hard, so this is not for me.
It's okay. If everyone was just kicking the ball, who else is going to talk about it?
That's what I'm saying.
Yes. So awesome. So that's pretty much St. Louis updates. So we'll make sure we bring some more up here. So the next one, I think that will be someone's favorite on my right. So Oscar, so do you have any hot topics yet?
Okay, so
because we had to calm Oscar, which is scary.
Yeah. So I can put it this way. I can give you one that it will be very hot on the city environment. If you want to get into it right now, or we can save it for later. And
Wow.
I do have one that is and there is another one that just happened in the world of football. It's not city related. It's
No. Just hot topic.
So I think I'm gonna start with that one to see. If anybody saw or follows Premier League, we just saw John Duran, a Colombian player, 21 years old or 20-year-old, 2021, that signed a multi-million contract to go to Saudi Arabia. $20 million per year for 5 years, I believe, is the contract. So the the hot topic of this is you are a 21-year-old prospect to be probably the best forward in Colombian history, in my opinion, better than Falcao and Tigre. And you pick the route of the money. Why?
Ooh, yeah, that's. So who wants to start? Do you have it? So are you just saying why?
So I mean, I'm in a complete disagreement with this move. He had everything to be the most successful Colombian striker. 20 years old in Aston Villa, finish this year playing Champions League, earning your spot in the team. Another big team will find you, and you keep going, keep improving. You're only 20. You hit your peak in 27, 28. You're still growing, and you have so much talent because he's just full of talent. And decided I'm gonna go to a league that is zero competitive, because it's zero competitive. Don't get me wrong, I love Cristiano Ronaldo, but Cristiano Ronaldo is scoring 13, 14 goals right now in the season, jogging. So
that could
let's just put it that way. Like, and you're a 20-year-old that you're going to a league like that is not gonna push you. You're not gonna grow in your level. You're gonna get the plateau there. You're gonna stay 1, 2 years there, maybe try to go somewhere else, but your plateau is gonna stop you from being the legend that you were gonna be. That's my take.
Oh, Charlie, do you want to try that one?
Yeah, I mean, if I was offered $71 million, if I was offered 16.7 million Great British pounds annually, I'm going wherever they want me to go. Frankly, I could go. I mean, this kid started. He was on the Chicago Fire in 2022. Went over to the EPL, and this kid is full of talent, like you said. And he actually, there's some things in the news right now. This was posted 7 hours ago. He's actually not living in Saudi's capital where Al Nassr plays, but he's living in a different city because of the cohabitation laws, because he wants to live with his partner and he's not yet married to her. And I mean, we're talking about a culture shock. I mean, this is a whole different situation that he's looking at.
Yeah. There's one person that they kind of curved the rule.
Cristiano Ronaldo.
Yes.
The CR7. I mean, I'd curve any rule for CR7. Come on.
I mean, if it was because of that, sure. But I mean, let's be honest. What's the money?
Oh yeah,
it's the money. Oh, I mean that's
it's
Oscar.
It is. I'm telling you, it's obviously everybody. If you put it on the perspective of the money, you will never reject that offer.
Yeah.
Nobody would. $20 million a year. Nobody will reject that. But knowing the talent he has, how great everybody put him on to be the biggest player. Like, he was the national team striker right now to take us in the World Cup to a long run for Colombia.
But he still will be pretty much, right?
I don't know.
No.
I really don't know. Because you're going to go play in that league I mean, I'll tell you, in Colombia, they didn't call Cucho to the national team because he was playing in MLS. So if you're not calling Cucho because he's playing in MLS, you think they're going to call Duran playing in the Saudi Arabia League?
That's tough.
I mean, yes, he has a great talent, but it's like the same thing. So it's
I can tell you there's one player that plays in the Saudi league that got called up to the French national team, and he was not playing. Colo Conte.
Yeah,
he was injured at Chelsea, and then they brought him back from the Saudi to the French national team. So it's Colombia. So I think
it could be.
Yes. So I think for me, there's two ways that I've seen, those whole transfer with the Saudi league. There's two ways that I see it. The first one is that Saudi has bailed out so many Premier League teams because of the crazy money that they pay them, just so that you see their books. A lot of those teams have now money, or they are back in the black, just because they had an influx of money from the Saudi paying crazy money. And then there's the other part where I understand that, the legendary status that he may get because of, all the pressure that he has on. But sometimes when you see like players, you're one injury away from everybody forgetting who you are.
Yeah.
And if you and we all know, if you come from poverty and all that, where you see that money, you're jumping. I think he was making less than £50,000 a week with Villa, and now you're at 17.
He was on 50. I think 50 pounds, 50.
Yeah. So that's like. So we're talking. Like family change. And then maybe he might be gone in 3 years.
If I can say something real quick.
Yeah, he won't be there for 5 years. That's for guarantee.
This is crazy stuff. We're looking at the average cost of someone to live out their life in comfort is $7.5 million. All right, we're talking about if you have 2 kids and those kids marry off and then they have kids, you're still going to have $30 million left. You're talking about your grandkids' kids that are going to be taken care of because of this kind of money. I mean, that's something crazy. I mean, I might just be saying this because I'm 15 years old and it's the money I ever touched in my life was $300. But I mean, we're talking about something like Mo said. I mean, this game is ruthless in the way that it is indiscriminatory of who gets injured and when they do get injured. All right, we saw Celio Pompeu. It doesn't say, oh well, you're nice, so you're not going to get injured. Celio Pompeu is the nicest player I know on City SC, and he had the horrific injury happen to him. You know, I mean, I think
that's the one I'm always skeptical is that type of. We forget a lot of them. You know, one injury away. No one can be Neymar where you play 5 games and get $100 million.
That much.
Yeah.
Yeah. But and my point is like you got into the soccer business as a soccer player, knowing your risks. And that's where it goes what your mentality is. You want the mentality of just playing the sport to make money? That's okay. That's okay.
Yeah.
Or you are in the sport for the mentality of being that legend,
Legendary.
being that person. And I see it more, and obviously I'm a frustrated former soccer player that never made it. So I
You've
always
made
thought
it.
I played the love of the sport. I wanted to play. I wanted to play professional, to play professional, to know that I was that good, to prove that I was that good. So if to that point, like I'm already making $4 million a year because he was already making $4 million a year. I don't need more.
That's fair.
At that moment,
That's right.
you don't need more. What you like
No.
$50,000 a week? What are you eating? Is
That's
your
crazy.
dinner? Is your dinner?
Yeah.
What is in your
A
dinner that
gold
you're spending
bar.
50,000?
Yeah. Are you eating bricks of diamonds? I mean, you're talking about
I don't.
a yearly salary in 2 weeks. That's crazy.
Yeah, and I think that's where you see the difference. It's also bad when you look at your other teammates
And they're
and
talking trash about you.
yeah, and you see other players where we know there's players that are making 350,000 pound a week. We know some are making 375. And when you hear, when you see the difference where you're at 50 and you're at 375, you're like, dang.
Well, I mean,
And I'm better
Maybe
than
I
you.
want more.
Yeah,
Yes.
I'll say this. If you're looking at the way that Duran's career could have played out differently here, if he rejects this offer, continues to play at the pace he's playing, we're talking about 8 goals and 27 appearances, is not a star in the making statistics, but this kid's 21 years old producing these kind of numbers. This is a kid
He's
that
good.
if he continues what he's doing with Aston Villa and he continues what he's doing in the EPL, he's going to get an offer toward 10 times the amount of what he's got from the Saudi league in 10 years. The Saudi league loves getting people past their prime and paying them billions of dollars. Just look at Ronaldo and Neymar. I mean, we're looking at the people who have proven themselves, and I would say it's less for the play, it's more for the name recognition. We're all talking about the Saudi league right now because they paid this player. If they didn't pay this player right now, we wouldn't be talking about the Saudi league on here. This wouldn't be a hot take of Oscars. I think it's parts. I mean, you're looking at the ability to be the amount of money the Saudi league has is crazy, and
Just blame Neymar.
They have almost no bounds to how much they can offer a player. So if you continue to produce in your career, you can make millions upon hundreds of millions, maybe even billions of more dollars.
I mean, how much they're paying Ronaldo?
Let's check it.
Do you even is there enough numbers for that?
I don't think there is. I think you're comparing.
We got enough zeros.
We'll break in there. It's the thing. You're exactly right, Charlie. You can create your career. You create your name. You win trophies. You. There's nothing better than being the idol, the legend of a club. That you're recognized. That is like he won trophies. He won this. He did this. Now in Villa, they're gonna say him like, "Oh, that was the 20-year-old that he just did 6 months in us," and then he's like, he didn't care about anything else, So
I just that one part, maybe as a debate on that part. There's been like Manchester United. If you heard the recent news, that how usually they have funds that usually takes care of like their past legends. That they have investments so that they can kind of help them for their living expenses when they're doing not so well, or just making sure they're taken care of for the rest of their lives. The part owner decided to remove that fund and not take care of those legends of Manchester United that need the support.
Yeah.
We're not talking the real Ferdinand, right? That
Right.
made hundreds of millions. We're talking the smaller guys. So I think it's when soccer, unfortunately, has become a business
Yeah.
to where you could be hot in 2024, not so hot in 25, and then no one knows who you are.
Yeah.
And $100 million offer is now 25 or 250K.
Yeah. I
I
mean,
think
I
that's
just looked up.
that.
I looked up Cristiano Ronaldo's salary. He's making, $204 million a year, and his contract was a 3-year contract. I did the calculations, folks. The amount of money Cristiano Ronaldo is making not per hour, not per day, per minute, is $380.
All right, I quit.
He's making 56 is what he's making. So we talked about the salary that Duran was making per week times 7, then you get Ronaldo's. It's outrageous the amount of money that these guys are getting paid. And you look at like the amount of money that we're trading some of these young guys for in the MLS. You're talking about AZ Jackson, who is a possible great guy. He's a great playmaker. He just never put it together in St. Louis. It's less than $1 million for him. I mean, if we're talking in the Saudi league, they probably give him $1 million a year. I mean, we're talking about the amount of money that is. I think money talks in this world more than anything. And if you're able to manipulate somebody, especially a younger player that maybe didn't come from wealth and has never seen a figure with that many zeros on it, it's easy to manipulate somebody that way.
Yeah, it's not like he's Asian, didn't make a ish ton of money.
No.
in
Yeah,
3
no,
transfers.
I mean, he definitely came. He
come
definitely
on.
came from a low income background,
Yeah.
like all the good soccer players in South America. Like they fight for it. They come and they want to be successful, and that's the part. Like, yes, like I get it. Taking that money is so always tempting. Is always like you would think like there's no wrong choice there. Like you're set up for life at this moment. Like, I mean, if your contract is secure now, because if your contract has some different stipulations that you have to play to earn the money or whatever, then that's a different story. But
Right.
if you have for sure this money signing this contract, of course, like you're gonna take it. Like nobody's gonna put the money, no. But at the same time, like I said it before, you're already making enough. You already have money that you can be saving. How many of us will wish that we could save $1 million in our bank every year and say, "Oh, I'm set up for life," right?
Yeah.
Because he could do that. His life expenses in England, they were not 4 million a year.
No.
Oh no! Don't forget they were getting taxed a lot of money too.
That's
Um,
fair.
and I think Saudi is no tax when you're playing there, even though you probably will
Yeah, I know.
still pay taxes
Yeah.
in
And we
the other
talked.
countries. But
We talked about Cristiano Ronaldo. Guess who played right next to him? John Duran. They played today. They played today and won 4-0 against Al Wasal. Ronaldo scored. Duran didn't.
Who,
But
who had the worst qualification? I
what do
saw
you mean?
it. Who had the lowest score as a performance?
is it Ronaldo?
It was Duran. Yeah.
It was Duran.
Yeah, he
So,
did not make it.
It's still
I mean, you're
jet
new.
lag.
You're new on a team.
Yeah.
You're jet lag. You're new on a
Yeah.
team. You're all that. But I mean, you're not concerned anymore.
Yeah.
Let's put it that way. You as a player, you're like, I got everything now.
Yeah.
I can play shitty and I don't care.
Hopefully,
Yeah.
hopefully he has the Ronaldo mentality where
Yeah.
it's you work hard still. So I think hopefully that's what he has. But
Yeah.
I think at the end it's the sport that we're in now. The money talks, and I think sometimes you have to. Unfortunately, you have to take the money because next year someone will most likely be hotter than you.
Yeah.
And the generations that we have now versus the Ronaldo and Messi, and you have different generation, right? We have the Pirlo and all that. They were legacy players. The Totti stay at AS Roma for his entire playing career. You will never get that now.
Again.
Yeah, that's gone. So I think now is, your image, how much, who's
Who
going to
gives you
pay
more money?
you. Yes,
Yeah.
Ronaldo and Messi right now are the last legacy guys, and then the rest, hopefully, we get another one. But now,
Yeah.
a club, you offer them 100 million. Any club's gonna be like, you know what? Even if you don't want to leave, you will leave.
Yeah. I mean, only
That's my
time will
thoughts.
tell. Only time will tell how Duran does and how his career plays out,
Yes.
and how he and his family will make decisions going forward. I mean, that's a great hot take. I think
Yes.
we just sparked a 20-minute conversation off of one sentence. That's a heck of a take right there, Oscar.
There you go, Oscar. So let's shift to the last one that we're going to do. So what's next? So now we know we have 3 preseason game next coming up. We'll be doing a lot more coverage. We have the reveal of the new city home jersey. Hopefully, Charlie and I will be on site for the revealing. And so other than that, what do you two have next planned for this upcoming season?
So, and the supporter side, there's a couple events that are coming up. This weekend, the 8th, Florida Noise has a unofficial kickoff. That it could be probably exciting for people if they want to join. It would just be the supporter group over there. I believe is in Four Hands Brewing, downtown. So that's something interesting. And then the team kickoffs that will be on the 16th in the factory. I scored my ticket, so I'll be there.
Luckily, I was able to get him too.
I hope I was not. I hope that maybe media members are allowed in. Fingers crossed.
We'll talk
We'll
offline,
see.
Charlie.
We'll see what happens.
Yeah.
But I mean, there's a lot of things to look forward to. I'm going to be watching a lot of good soccer and eating a lot of good food. Something they don't talk about a lot. City SC provides a lot of great food. They never fail. The people there, shout out. Oh my
Farm
goodness.
truck.
No. Sorry. I'm blanking. Come back to me. To me. Yeah, no. Shout out Dayton, a very nice worker at now Energizer Park, that always gave me a fist bump. So shout out Dayton, appreciate it, making me feel welcome. It's always weird stepping into. I mean, I was petrified the first time I walked into City Park. I mean, I am in the elevator going up to the thing. I'm like shaking. I got there like 30 minutes earlier than I was supposed to, and Cash came up to me like, the gates open in 30 minutes, right? I was like, oh no, I'm done for. It's over. I'm done for. Media pass revoked. I'm never coming here again. And of course, that was irrational. It all worked out. But I mean, the way that City handles themselves, I'm very thankful to be able to be doing this. I mean, I've never thought in 1,000 years that I'd be sitting here with 2 amazing journalists and 2 amazing, fans of the sport. But the ability to have these opportunities is amazing, and I just think to give these opportunities to other people is why we're here.
Yeah, and I'll say, hey, Charlie, you're holding yourself. You're a bit compared to us. You're still a baby. You're still in high
Yeah.
school, so and you're keeping up, and you have coaches like Hack that pretty much knows everybody in world soccer. I didn't say just MLS, world soccer, and you're able to ask him questions that startle him or make him think twice before answering.
Yeah.
So I don't know about Oscar, but you've gone a very long way compared to what I was doing at your age, and that's a whole nother discussion that we won't take on. But
for sure.
So
Right.
yeah, so that's why there was no hesitation to reach out to you. Oscar, he's like the capo. I don't know how he does it to still talk after a game, but
Yeah, I mean,
I'm still
your voice-
impressed on how he does it. So
A lot of cup drops.
That's
a lot.
fair.
So I was very pleased that you guys wanted to kind of do these collaborations because talking soccer with friends is what it's all about, and I enjoy it. So
Yeah.
hey, it is what it is. So Oscar, anything?
Yeah, I mean, we'll see everybody who's watching this live and someone who's watching this after it's been recorded.
Yes.
See you in the coming weeks. This should be something that will pop up very often, not super often, fairly often. We're trying to do weekly, I believe. And our goal here is really just to give insight. Well, not only are we giving insights to the three major hubs of soccer, we're giving insight to European soccer with Mo. You got more South and Central American soccer with Oscar, and then some MLS stuff and some city stuff with me myself. And we have that combo, but you also have the idea of a 15-year-old being a City SC media member. Musa being a former amateur player and being in the position he's in, being having his own show, having his own merch. I got his hoodie right here actually. Gotta rep it right here.
That looks nice.
But, I mean, yeah, it is very nice. I mean, and you got Oscar, leading, being a major leader of one of the biggest city fan groups. I have a beanie of STL Santos from when I first went to the season kickoff last year in the Foundry, and it was absolutely amazing. I mean, this has all been great. I mean, if I was a viewer of this, I'd be excited for next week, folks. Thank you for tuning in for sure.
Oscar?
Yeah. I mean, it's a great opportunity. I always wanted to do something like this. Like I say with you guys, I started to do some videos last year, giving like a little summary of the games and stuff. I was trying to do my content in Spanish, like I was bilingual, so trying to give in that opportunity to other people as well. But I mean, I have a major in sport management, and I always wanted to work in the area of sports, especially soccer. So like doing this and just having to get to chat about something that I love with two friends, like is amazing. So like for the people who are watching and they're gonna watch us in the future, like just bear with us. Sometimes like we're gonna be like all over the place because that's what discussions in soccer do. So but we appreciate it, and if we see each other in by City Park or Fiesta Football or in the March or anything, like just come say hi. We always like to make new friends and learn more about other people. And if they have any takes or anything that want to share with us, obviously we're open to discussion. We love
Of course.
that on the sport.
Yes. So definitely appreciate you two. I'm joining in for the first live top corner talk. And the nice part with the Fan Fest is that maybe we'll see if anyone has the courage to come and join us on these live sessions. We are able to bring people in and out of this show. So if anyone has a take, anyone has anything that they would like to share, this platform is like we discussed, is that we want to make it all inclusive. It won't be as structured as you would think. It's just that we want to talk football, soccer, however you want to call it. But mainly it's for City, but also there's no boundaries of the discussions we're going to have. And we'll also do Africa as well. So
Of course.
anytime you guys, there's anything that comes into mind, feel free. We went way over time, but hey, that's what happens.
That's what the
in soccer,
pilot
right?
is about, right?
This is what happens when John Duran goes to Saudi Arabia. This is what happens when you put three people who are.
If it happens, it's when someone's so jealous that they're making $20 million a year. Instead.
This is what happens when you put three people who love the sport of soccer together and love to share it with other people together. In one video call, they talk for an hour and 45 minutes. This is just what happens.
Hey, it's just like a soccer game.
Oh, of course.
There you go. So yes, so well, thank you all for joining our first live episode. So we're going to make sure we blast it in all the social media and make sure that you follow us also in our social, and we'll see what's coming next. But hey, maybe new swag or something to give away for someone that will answer questions from the previous TV show. Oh, well, not TV show, but podcast
Episode.
show.
Yeah.
And we have a lot of swag, so we'll hook it up. So thank you all for joining, and I hope you have a blessed day or night.
Good to talk
or
to you
whichever.
guys.
Yep.